Let's go.
This is the Spike Rebel experience.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
This is the Spike Rebel music experience. Yeah, how you doing, world? This is the Spike Rebel music experience, and today's guest is somebody that I really think the world needs to hear about. It's Dr. Khailfani Rivers. I mean, you talk about music being universal, positive, spiritual. Again, Dr. Khailfani Rivers is in the house. Come on in, man.
Hey, Spike Rebel.
What's good?
Everything's good.
All
man.
right.
Peace to you.
Yeah, great to have you on the show.
Thank
What
you
you
very much.
got there, right there?
This is a very ancient tool here. It's a, it's natural. It's bamboo, and it was made by brother Douglas Hewitt, who crafted this, and it's a bamboo flute.
Yeah. Man, that's that like one of the Tarantino films. Yeah. Listen, where'd you get started?
Well, I guess you could say from birth, because my mother, she's a vocalist.
Okay.
And she was always around the house singing and playing the music of the day. And she was really, really deep into jazz. And so I guess I got my start with my mother singing and jazz music.
Well, I've been to your house before, and I know you got a lot of instruments, a lot of cultural instruments. And I'm not sure, are they jazz instruments per se, or how does that work? You're a collector of instruments, obviously.
Right, right. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call them jazz instruments. What I would call them is that they're tools that we use to create sound.
Okay.
Because before you got music, you got sound. And sound is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and these instruments is what I use to vibrate and deal with that energy of sound.
So you want to talk a little more on the philosophical, the view, because you just talked about it, vibration. So
Yeah.
that's got to deal with something with healing and creating mood and change. So yeah, elaborate on that.
Well, exactly. As I stated, there's two major forces in the universe, and that's sound and light. And everything in the universe is based upon vibration.
Okay.
So when you're vibrating at a certain frequency, it could also be divided again into what's called yin and yang,
Okay.
light and dark, external and internal.
Okay.
So we take these forces and we notice what's the cause and effect. What occurs when you do like a yin sound, which would be a bass sound, a deep sound, kind of an inner type of thing,
Okay.
versus a yang sound, which might be higher pitch, more alarming, or more forward. So it's the intermingling of those forces that we use, similar to like light and paint, where we're painting
Contrast.
pictures with sound.
Now that's got to be a whole other topic with today's music, with the digital. I would assume that digital music has a vibration
It certainly
versus, I would say, live instrumentation,
Right.
which I think personally appeals to the soul more so. Can
Yes.
you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, again, it deals with what you might say, what's close to your heart.
Okay.
You know, and so as you say, acoustic music, which is live music that is from natural sources, like the wood of the bamboo, or a drum, or an acoustic guitar. These things are dealing with basic vibrations, and there's a lot of elements involved with the drums. A lot of times, drums, particular type of drums I play, have animal skin on them. They're made of wood,
So that's life.
which is a
Yes.
live element, and they're made of that animal skin, which is a live element. So when those things are vibrating, they have a connection with me,
Okay.
connection with the universe, and when you're dealing with those things, one of the greatest formulas for creating anything is what your intention is.
Okay.
If my intention is to soothe and to be calm, then I'm going to be doing things that are in that frequency. Something may be slow, something may be with a pulse that's kind of boom, boom,
Okay.
boom, and it just slows everything down.
So that's that trance sort of. You can put your your mind into a trance by rhythm, as well as I know a lot of cultures do the drone tone on this, what is it, sitar?
Yes,
et
yes.
cetera, et cetera.
Yes, yes.
Do you play any string instruments?
Well, actually, I play over 200 instruments. I play families of instruments: strings,
Wow.
woodwind, brass, percussion, pianos, drums. You name it, I've vibrated with it. And it's interesting because the way I got into it was I first started playing piano and drum because that was what was around my house.
Okay.
My mother was a vocalist, as I mentioned, and then I had a cousin who stayed on the first floor and we stayed on the second floor. The cousin actually played piano and drums. So I got this music around me, and these are the voices that I'm hearing. So I started experimenting and working with that. What can I do with that sound? So I got into that pretty deeply in terms of just approaching it and having fun with it. But as I
Okay.
matured and started listening to other music, I knew it would take a much more serious approach. And you named a very key element. One of the first things that I learned and really gave me confidence to play music is that in order to really get into that space where you say, you know, you jamming, like you really throwing down, it's a trance state that comes over you.
Okay.
You actually go into trance. I believe in some churches they call it the Holy Ghost or the
That's true.
Spirit.
Right, right.
When a jazz player is playing his horn, he want to play an excellent solo. So it's kind of like you get out the way and you let the sound come through you.
Okay.
And it's coming through that trance vibration.
So let me ask you, at a certain point, even with this instrument or the other ones you're going to play for us later, right?
Oh, certainly. I love to.
How much practicing plays a part in mastering, well, if I'm saying mastering your instrument, but like I don't think you have any gates around you. You're open to, you said over 200 instruments. So I know you didn't take classes for all of them.
No.
So, but everybody says you need to practice.
Right.
So
That is the key element, practice. Because the more you become familiar with your sound, let's just take a simple instrument like this flute. The more you play it, the more familiarity you become with the actual sounds that it can create. And again, just like painting, it creates my palette of what type of sounds is what kind of colors I can get from that sound.
Okay.
And that's actually how I started advancing into other instruments. I kept hearing these other sounds that a flute couldn't make,
Okay.
that a drum couldn't make. And so I wanted that sound. And I did employ other people. I did work with other people, but they wasn't around me all the time.
Right.
And they might not have had the same concept that I had. So I had to learn how to play the instrument myself to make sure. So a lot of times, rather than just call myself a drummer or a flute player or a saxophone player or a piano player, I'm a composer.
that's what I was about to ask. Are you an orchestrator? You sound like the whole gamut is within you.
Yes.
So I guess when you look at a crowd or play with certain groups, you can judge what instruments or what vibration you want to send out.
That's absolutely correct. Coming in, I have some kind of idea about what I want to do, but I always respond to the audience.
Okay.
I always respond to what's there and what I feel might be needed. It's kind of like evoked.
So where does that play out into today's thing? You see the concerts, the voice on TV, and everybody is trying to be a star, but you seem to be that yin yang. If that's yin, then you're the opposite of that. Like, why aren't we showing more of your type?
Well,
Is entertainment versus real? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe entertainment is real too.
right. Well, entertainment is real because we're all dealing with the same kind of elements. But remember, I said there's this key point. What is your intention for
Okay.
the sound? Is my
Okay.
intention to make you dance?
Ah.
Is my intention so that you have a palette or an environment by which you might be able to fall in love? You might be courting someone.
Or to meditate, like
Or
you
to
said.
meditate. Right. So it's about what your intention is. And these people that deal with digital music or they deal with popular music, they know what their intention is. Yes.
Okay.
That intention is around money, and it's around other elements. You
Okay.
know, other elements I'll call them. Yeah.
Well, I want to get more into you, but I noticed at a grammar school, if you play the 808 drum, the deep bass with a snare drum, the little kids immediately start grinding. So that thing with frequency, it appeals to different. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. Yes, it does. In the ancient African traditions, there's a whole system that we call the tree of life.
Okay.
And that tree of life deals with vibrational forces that actually govern what you might call behavior, characteristics, such as being more creative, such as being a person who can be tap into that wisdom faculty of yourself. Or a person who might need to be more courageous and strong and bold and needs more energy. So they gave names to these frequencies and these energies, and they noticed what was sympathetic to them, meaning what would attract that energy.
Okay.
And in the very early music, a lot of that music was dedicated to the divine element. It was dedicated to the creator.
To the higher spirit, right?
Yeah, and it was dedicated to evoking aspects of the creator, such as love, such as courage, such as the trance state. And so the formulas of rhythms and sounds were discovered that when you play this rhythm, it's more conducive to that bold part of myself, that courageous part.
Right.
When I play this rhythm, I'm kind of like mellowed out and real calmed down, and
That's
the
interesting.
wisdom faculty comes.
I was driving with somebody that was very upset, and I put some Bob Marley on.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
but he's talking crap. No, but the music, the vibration of those chords, she's just like just relaxed.
Yes.
So that's it. So what groups? You're in a band. You have your own. I think Sound Therapy.
That's exactly it. I've been associated with a group of guys for over 35 years.
Wow.
And the personnel has changed a few times, but I'm the major component that's always been there. And the group is called Sound Therapy Ensemble.
And that group is jazz, modal jazz, funk jazz.
If you wanted to put it into a category, you might want to say maybe three things. You might want to say jazz, or you might want to say world music.
Okay.
Because some people have a concept of world music being something that's exotic or rare or different. And our music is definitely exotic, rare, and different. But at the same time, again, we're dealing with therapy. Sometimes people need to hear something that's so familiar to them, such as a blues line, or a funk beat. Because what if you want to evoke excitement? What if you want to evoke joy? Then you might want to funk it up a little bit.
Up tempo. So wow. So what do you have in your agenda for the next 5 years? Like, if this is now, where do you see yourself? Going.
We really feel like we're the leaders of a movement that's taken the intention of sound into healing and into evoking and feeding the divine parts of people's self. And it's really part of a great movement called Health is Wealth, and this whole holistic health movement. It combines perfectly with people are changing their diets, they're eating better, then they're being conscious that food has an impact on how they feel and how long they can live in some cases, because they found out that some foods are very destructive.
Okay.
And so by the same element, the music has a landscape of dealing with that healing. People get into acupuncture, they get into massage, and they get into physical exercise, which is a very great component that's in the music, because the breath and how you breathe has a lot to do with your state of consciousness. So the music and the sound force is a very big part of that whole holistic health movement. So we're part of a movement, and I'm seeing people embrace that aspect of it. Because people kind of divided into genres of music and how they want to function with the music.
Yes.
And some of that function is guided by the industry and how they want you to consume the music.
Okay.
So we have to put our energy out there and put the emphasis on balancing, on healing,
There it is.
on evoking higher energy frequencies, so that people can dwell in their hearts in a peace concept, which really opens up everything.
Wow.
Because if you can become peaceful, all doors open, everything.
That's the
becomes
God.
available.
That's the God.
That's it, brother.
So
That's
my
it.
question is not a question. You just said it. Music feeds the soul.
Oh.
But at the same time, if you eat a bunch of candy all day, you gotta have a mixture. So, what's your favorite instrument? Out of all of those families, out of that 250 instruments, is there a favorite?
I've been asked that a lot of times, and I used to say I really have no favorite. I'm just dealing with sound, and I got to deal with the sound in a moment. But then I looked at it another way. What if somebody told me they're going to take away all my instruments, but you can keep one? So then I have to say, well, what can't I do without? You know, looking at it from that concept. So when I looked at it like that, I said, you know what? I can't live without the drum. I gotta have that drum.
Go back to Mother Earth, huh?
I gotta have that drum.
Yes, sir.
Because with that drum, I can fully express myself in every aspect I totally feel. And I can get like that on other instruments. And oddly enough, you know, I saw something great. I saw a movie the other day, and it was, I think it was Get On Up, James Brown.
Okay.
And in one part of the movie, he's talking to his band. One guy's playing saxophone, I think it was Mazio.
Okay,
and
Maceo.
Another guy playing a guitar, another guy playing piano. And he said, you guys ain't getting this. Let me explain it to you this way. Mazio, what instrument you playing? He said, I'm playing saxophone. He said, no. He said, what instrument you playing? He talking to the guy that playing the guitar. He said, I'm playing drum, Mr. Brown. He said, that's right. He said, what you playing, man, over there? And he was sitting to a piano. He said, I'm playing drum, Mr. Brown. He said, that's right.
Okay.
And then he said, Mazio, what you playing? He said, well, I must be playing drum, Mr. Brown. He said, that's right.
Okay.
And that's how we gonna do this.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, done.
And then, boom.
And it was tight.
Right.
It was tight because they started approaching it from a rhythm and a drum mindset.
Okay.
And they were using the timbre of their sound, whether it was saxophone, piano, whatever, but they approached it rhythmically, very heavy rhythmically.
Okay.
And from that, everything just developed.
Wow.
And that's actually how I developed as an artist, because I had much more passion and love for music than I had theoretical training.
Okay.
So on piano, you got this whole universe of sounds and harmonies you can go
theories,
through.
right.
And I broke it down to, what if I just play rhythmically? And then I could have fun. I didn't worry about what I couldn't play.
Okay.
I focused on what I could play.
Right.
And what I could play started feeling good to me.
Wow.
And started making forces move. And so I approached the piano. And even in the Western system of categorizing music, they put the piano, oddly enough, in the percussion family.
That's true.
They call the piano a percussion instrument.
That's true.
And so that was my start, percussions, drums, you know, and then I moved to the wind instruments, which I love tremendously, and strings and brass.
You don't see none of this stuff in the public schools too much.
Oh,
Or even the things you're talking about with healing and love. We got to get back to that, whether that's the church, the school, the communities.
Yes.
These are, I guess, the musical leaders, or that's what you represent to me. So, but in short, I like to hear some of that drum stuff. Could you do something for us?
I certainly could. You throwing drum on this drum?
No, I'm talking about on the next set. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back to you with Dr. Khailfani performing live for us so we can see all of this stuff that he's talking about. He's going to demonstrate it. You're going to do that, right?
I'd love to do that.
All right. See you in a minute.
All right. Drum talk. Oh.
All right, here we go.
This is a song entitled Stairway to Heaven.
So Dr. Khailfani, your music is beautiful. Really, it's an art. And I would like to thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Now, where can we find you on the internet?
Okay, well, you can go to my website, which is www.drkhailfanirivers.com.
Okay, spell Khailfani for us.
Okay, that's, well, DrKhailFaniRivers.com. DrKhailfanirivers.com.
Now, what do you have coming up performance-wise?
Well, right now I'm doing some real strong deep concentration around this trip I'm about to make to Barbados
Hey.
and St. Lucia. Yeah. So we're going to be doing some healing workshops there, some sound therapy healing workshops. So I'm going in real deep so that my vibration will be on fire by the time we hit that.
Okay. Well, close us out with something, a positive statement that you give out to the world, if you had one last thing to say.
Well, that would be that it's all about harmony and peace. Harmony is the understanding that we all are here for a definite purpose, and a great part of that purpose is to coexist in peace.
All right.
To just be on a peaceful flow.
That's God's sent. And for those who don't know, again, this is the Spike Rebel Show, and I'm so glad to have Dr. Khailfani Rivers share with us. The painting that I created while he was on the set was basically, he was talking about meditation and how music moves in that sense for our spirits. So I started with a more African mask, and then I went more Asian, and I am starting to use the color, the glitter paints to really accent and make it pop. The tattoo-ish type of lingo on the faces, I'm starting to incorporate that into paintings. It gives it a more global Filipino type of thing. And these colors are very Caribbean-ish. So this kind of all goes along with what Dr. Khailfani was all about. And again, artists to the artists. That's where we're blending it here, right at the Spike Rebel Music. You can find us at Spike Rebel Music if you like any of the stuff that we're doing, positive artists and art. StageTheShow.tv. Check us out. Let's go. This is the Spike Rebel Experience.